morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Shenandoah Valley. My name is Dan Hadley, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Now, we are a welcoming congregation, united on the side of love and justice. We'd like to say we don't have to think alike to love alike. We strive to walk through this life with both open hearts and open minds. May the time we spend together today in this place make us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than when we woke up this morning. Now, if you are new to Unitarian Universalism, I encourage you to take a note of our mission statement, which is on the front. It's beautiful. And we also work together and promote the 8 principles, which are printed on the inside of the Order of Services. Now, it is our tradition to welcome first and second time visitors, or those of you who haven't been here for a while, and to stand, if you're comfortable doing that, and introduce yourself to the congregation and tell us where you're from. May I start on the left side?
Hi, I'm Carol Black, and this is my second time here, and I've already signed the membership book. And
Hi, I'm Liz Bryan, I'm a member. I have a good friend, a former backpacking friend, Steve Ingram from Chevy Chase, visiting, and Maggie and Bruce. Maggie and I backpacked and paddled together forever and ever from Chapel Hill, and they've got a house in East Asheville now.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Do we have any first or second time visitors or new ones on this side, please? Hey,
You know, I wasn't going to say anything. Something just pushed
well,
me.
introduce yourself.
Second time. My name's David, and I'm from New Hampshire, and I spend the winters here. Usually rent someplace for the winter. And, I just enjoyed last week. I just enjoyed the sermon, which was honest and inspiring and heartful, and it made me come back.
Thank you, David. If you're interested in learning more about us, should be in the pew there a card to fill out. Name and information. We will then, if you'd like, you'll receive regular communication, our newsletter, etc. Okay. There's a potluck after this, as most of you know. And the major announcement is there will be no announcements. Now, it's also our practice to acknowledge that the land where we are on today has not always been ours to call home. UUCSD acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the ancestral home of the Cherokee and other indigenous people. Now, the Cherokee, through stewardship, understanding, and conservation, survived and thrived on this land. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. Now, please silence or completely power down your cell phones so that we can begin our service with a stewardship message. After this. Yep.
I
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jim Carillon and a longtime member here. In fact, I'm a founding member of this congregation, and I've invested 20 years of my life in this congregation. UUCSV has always provided me huge rewards, and I want to share some of those with you today. For example, refurbishing this very sanctuary and later dividing the office in half so that we could make space for our minister. We early members not only pledged to support the ongoing operations of this church, but separately pledged for 3 years a capital campaign to pay for this very building. And shortly after, we did pay for the entire mortgage, retired it, and now no longer is a mortgage a part of our operating budget. When we started, we could only afford a quarter-time minister speaking once a month, but we brought Michael Carter on at halftime and worked like the devil to bring him up to full-time with full UUA benefits. So thank you, Alex. We educate ourselves regularly. We spent 9 months becoming a welcoming congregation, as was announced earlier, to better include our LGBTQ friends, and also a similar process to become a green sanctuary. What I remember early on is attending Kim and Deb's wedding here long before their marriage was legal in the US. Participating in classes, covenant groups, and men's group. What I remember from an early class is Bill meeting Sue for the first time in that class and growing their relationships into a beautiful marriage.
Amen to that.
Hi, Bill. Serving on committees. Let me get back up here. Helping provide Sunday services and living our principles, including joining our church team to build an interfaith house every fall. Serving on committees over the years, from the board to helping in religious education, where I'll be in a few minutes out there with our youngsters. I specifically remember taking a group of teenagers to Boston for their coming of age trip and baptizing Heidi's son and I in this little lake that we surrounded and walked. Maybe some of you have heard of it, Walden Pond. Receiving your support when Aline and I recently became foster parents. Finley and Jace and Gaddafi have so benefited from your warm welcoming of them into our community. During our last Christmas Eve service, Gaddafi was even welcomed by Michael when he became 2-year-old restless. He brought him right up to the stage. Potluck Sundays, which we're having today, round robin dinners, mowing and raking the lawn, and other occasions where we get to personally know each other. Introducing myself to visitors every Sunday morning and welcoming them warmly does as much for me as hopefully it does for new prospective members of this congregation. So I want to thank you all for being both with me and for me. As a member now of the stewardship team, I invite you to join me in providing your time, your talents, and of course your treasures to become even more invested in this church. Please complete the pledge form, as I did this morning, that's attached with yours as well, and give generously to this congregation. We're asking for a 7% increase from our veteran supporters, like you and me. And especially if you're new to this community, please join me with your own unique pledge for this coming fiscal year. The fiscal year starts July 1 of this year and goes through June 30 of next year.
Thank you.
I thank you all for even more for joining me and becoming fully involved in this warm community. Our children and their children will thank you as well.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a gorgeous day. It's a lot of energy here. It's a special Sunday. And so we got a lot to do because I know you're hungry. I hear your stomach's growling. It may be my stomach that's growling. Anyway, yeah, thank you for being here. I'll tell you about it in the sermon. The opening words this morning are from They're Very Brief by UU John Mills Paul. So just take a deep breath. Leave aside the little thoughts that distract you. For this place, like all places, is a holy place. And now, like all times, is a holy time. Join with this community of seekers, and together, let us find. Right to the point. Okay, let's go. Please rise as you are willing and able. Thank you, Diane. And join in our, actually, you're going to join us in welcoming. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm task-oriented this morning. I want to eat. What we're going to do is we're going to ask our new members to come forward. So, please don't be shy. If you could just make a circle there. And for our congregation, you don't have to stand. You don't have to stand. But, yeah, come on up. Come on up. I want you to come on up and face the audience, face the congregation. All right? Now, you know, some people aren't here, and some people couldn't make it. So, what I'd like the congregation to do is to, inside of your order of service, this is a sponsored reading for New Member Sunday. Pretty self-explanatory. So, look at these beautiful things. Okay, so, as the minister of this congregation, I am, and we are, really privileged to welcome you as new members of our growing community. And so I don't think that I'm going out on too far of a limb to say that I speak not only for those who are members of our present congregation, but for those who communed with us in the past, and those who shall reap the benefits from our fellowship in the future, and for those members who have crossed over, they are here in spirit, and so you are here with them. So, congregation,
We are eager to share in our fellowship and our union with you. We are strengthened and encouraged by the desire of these new members to join our congregation.
As well as responsibility. I affirm that I come here as a whole person with weaknesses and strengths, both as well as these.
this is a free congregation, it's a free church, it has no creed. It requires that every member think for him or herself about their own benefits and beliefs, and to apply them to his or her belief. What benefits do? It is a congregation for all peoples and all faiths, welcoming every seeker of truth and beauty, no matter his or her class, sexuality, nation, faith, or race.
We pledge ourselves to serve our community and all of the human family. We take pride in the freedom of the pulpit and the reader. We cherish and respect this. We need nothing alike to love alike.
We now affirm to you our commitment to you and our mutual embrace of freedom of vision, diversity of understanding, and unity of spirit. We commit to offering you within this religious community a safe place to explore and to discover your truth and the support you need to live it.
Together, love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to bear witness in the world to the healing
and transforming power of community.
All right, so I'm gonna call out some names, and if one of them belongs to you, just raise your hand. And the congregation can get to know you a little bit. Susan Moore, Alan Max. Is that Diane or Diane? Jane Wallace?
Elizabeth, she has COVID.
Yeah, it's a couple people who do. All right. Susan Landis? Ron and Jane Marcello. Okay.
Woo, woo, woo!
Leah Roebling. Well, Judy West and Morris West couldn't be here. Bill Banks.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, he's got, he just walked up. No, his knee's bothering him. Yeah, his knee's bothering him.
Okay, we will come to you.
Hey, Bear. All right. Carol Black. Melon Hall?
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't read it.
It's okay.
There we are. Risa and Fletcher Walsh. And longtime friend, the Reverend Dr. Henwood.
Okay, so tell you what, something's happening because we have gotten messages every day, it feels like, there's a new member, there's a new member.
So we have two of them.
We have two people here, right? Yes, you're here and you feel like a new member. What is your name? David. Okay. Alex.
Okay.
Remember,
So, what can I say, but thank you, and I will, it's too late to change your mind now that I have we'll talk about what you just got into in a few minutes. So thank you for being here. All right, welcome.
See you after church, make sure we have everything we need.
Wow, okay. Now, I guess we'll say the service can begin. If you would please rise as you are willing and able, and join me singing our opening hymn this morning, number 12. All life that makes all things new. Our responsive reading this morning is 728 in the back of the gray hymnal. Blessed are those. We'll read this responsively. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit.
Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto.
Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along, to join the fellowship, service, learning, and growth.
Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular sustained and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than their money.
Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to put the minister as well. Blessed are those who know that the church and the minister is often imperfect. Yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders.
Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human needing, who do the work of committees and stay till the end.
Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticism, who keep alive their sense of humor.
Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is the transformation of society, who have a vision of a beloved community, transcending the present, and who do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change.
Together, blessed are they indeed. All right. So we have a tree. Nice row. I'll let you do the honors. You show us some more love if you want. So now, here we are, moving on. This is the time in the service where we invite you to share a joy, a concern, a sorrow. Diane is the keeper of the flame. She will light your fire. And the microphone is yours.
I'm Andy Reed.
And I was put on the membership committee a couple of years ago. And one of the pleasures that I have is that they put me in charge of the team of greeters who greet us here. And I want to celebrate a candle of joy for all the greeters we have in this congregation who welcome you each Sunday, and particularly those who join the congregation, like Elizabeth, who is not here today due to COVID, and B. Lothrop, who as soon as they joined said, I want to join the greeters committee because I want to meet new people. So a candle of joy and celebration for all of you who are greeters. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tina, and I'd like Diane to light a candle of optimism. One of my daughters and her family, they're having a really hard time right now. It seems their health has crashed, their car broke down, everything's going wrong, their dog died. So what I'm asking is that you send them positive vibes so that they understand it's temporary and things are going to turn around even if it takes a long time. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol. I hate to come up my second time here, but I just found out 2 days ago that I was going to be a great-grandmother for the second time. And so that's a joy. My little concern is that my granddaughter, having her first child, is going to be 37 soon. So there's a little bit, but it's her life. I mean, she's wanted a child for many, many years, so it's very exciting.
Hi, my name is Bill, and every time I see my Sue sing, I experience tears of joy. I can't help it. And I want you to know, in this congregation are most of my friends, and most of my social activity occurs among us. Prior to coming to this church, I attended churches all my life, maybe a total of 3 or 4 weeks total in my entire life. I've been at this church for 14 years now. What does that tell you?
Well, we are many today, with many things on our heart. I've also been here a long time, about 20 years. Almost 21. My daughter, yes, because of my daughter. My joy, one joy, is my son is here from New York City. So if I scoot out quickly, it's just because I want to see him, be with him. And my other thing I wanted to share is that when I'm not here, I'm working. And work is going well, but this is new for me. I'm working full-time, weekends often. I like my job. But it's a big transition, and I'm working in dietary, and it looks like I'm gonna get to take the CNA course in the end of March. So I think that's maybe more of what I want to do. But I tell you, like Jim, like Bill, you're my friends, you're my people. You need to know.
Morning, I'm Linda. Well, I'm very excited to have a joy and hold us, whatever, in good energy. I'm going to bucket list trip to New Zealand starting next week with my son, and then I will leave him there where he's hopefully going to work for a year, and that's the longest time he will be the furthest away in ever. So just hold us in safe travels, and then I'll make it. He'll be great, but I'm going to miss him.
Hi, I'm Larry. I have a concern. I think I've mentioned here before a friend of ours, Roger Finna, who's in our bridge group, and he's had ongoing physical problems and other things keep coming up for him. And recently he decided he would do something to help bond with his son, so he got him a special meal, drove over to his house, and as he pulled in his driveway, instead of hitting the brake, he hit the gas and smashed his son's car. So that didn't go so well. But just keep him in your hearts. His name is Roger Finna. Things aren't going his way for the last couple of years.
I'm Evan. I've got a candle of sorrow and gratitude. Yesterday there was a memorial service here for a young 19-year-old woman who passed away in a car accident, and I'm grateful that the church was here to provide the space for that service.
Boy, that's something, I've done that before, you hit go instead of whoa. Well, so this is life, right? This is life, and this is the slices of life that we come, and it makes us community. I heard someone say, Buddhism. Yeah, it is. You know, it's hard to remember that though, and you know, nothing good lasts forever, but nothing bad lasts forever. And in Buddhism, it wouldn't even go to good or bad. It just is. But this is what it means to be a human being. And so, with that said, this is our community. We support each other, and we keep you in our. We do pray here. I know some people don't like to use the word, but we do pray. We do meditate. We'll send you some energy and see what that does. For those of you who, for whatever reason, did not want to come up, that's okay. Obviously, we keep you in our hearts and minds. Diane, thank you. I thought this was apropos for New Member Sunday, but it's obviously.
Diane? The flame is still on the table. Oh.
It's okay. But you must flee out that door or this door. You can smash the window if you need to, but you need to get out. I don't want anything happening to you. You got me going there, Ann. So, let us meditate on not starting a fire. And let's meditate on being at home, especially for you new members. Again, the words of Brother Richard S. Gilbert. Be silent, be still, be serene in this house of the Spirit. Put aside all noises that annoy, all sounds that irritate, the cacophony that confounds. Because here, you are at home. Leave behind all the frustrations that belittle, the causes that fret, the troubles that torment. Here, you can be at rest. Put away all the plans to be made, things to be done, victories to be won. Because here, you can be at peace. Breathe deeply. Clear the mind of all cluttered thought. Purge the spirit of all unkindness. Rinse the soul clean and pure. Here you are at home, sit easy and be at rest. Feel your body recover its resilience, your mind, its bearings, your spirit, its strength. Once again, we have come home to the source. We feel the collective power of our companions, the warmth of their welcome, the support of their caring. We who have been wanderers, groping for something, we know not what we grope for, but we know that here we are at home. Here is the place for us. We are at home in this sanctuary and with this people. We are at home on this globe and with all who dwell on it. We are at home in this cosmos, our home for all time past and all time to come. We are at home here. And now, don't move. I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. We have a treat from the choir, my favorite song. But before, I want to get the money first. You get it. Forget it. My favorite philosopher, William James, reminds us that the greatest use of life is to spend it on something that will outlast it, and in that spirit, we collect this morning's offering. Can y'all give him some more? Okay, we bid you welcome. Let's welcome you. Oh, see, I asked for the money and then I don't take it. See what I'm doing? But I thank you, because I do forget from time to time. So thank you, seriously, for your generosity. Okay. So let me tell you what you did when you signed the book. First of all, no, we bid you welcome. And this morning, obviously, we want to acknowledge and celebrate our new members. New members are the lifeblood of really any congregation as we attempt to grow our souls and, of course, to grow the congregation. So I want you to be assured that we do not take your presence here lightly. Obviously, you join this community because you feel that on some level we reflect your beliefs and your opinions and your values. So one definition of belonging means to be suitable. It means to be appropriate in the proper situation. And we want you to feel that you do belong here. I'm not a joiner, and so I know that sometimes it's a big step to make that commitment. So we want you to feel welcomed here, and we want you to feel appreciated. We need you. We do. We need your talents and unique perspectives about the world around us, because without you, we cannot be without each other, we cannot be truly human. And that is the goal. We need your curiosity and we need your doubts. If you use, our philosophy, again, some people say we're religion, whatever you want to call us, it's a philosophy, it's religion, it's a spirituality of not having all of the answers. Isn't that delightful? We don't have to have the answer. It's okay. Plato says, I'm wise, or Socrates, I'm wise because I know what I don't know. I don't know. And so this way, we are open to change. We're willing to go in a different direction if we have to. We're willing to go back over the same ground all over again if we have to. And so we encourage you to seek, because most of you, if not all of you, are seekers. But I just want to remind you that you're seeking because you want to what? You want to find something. You don't get points just for looking. You want to find something. And so we encourage you to seek, and perhaps we can learn to live the questions and not have all of the answers. And perhaps we can learn to live in the mystery of what is life. It takes courage to join a community, especially a religious, spiritual one. Many of us have been hurt, and we've lost faith in institutions because of what we've witnessed, what we've experienced, and we still have pain from that. There's some of you here who were born and raised you, but some of you come from different religions of origins. And just remember this, though, even though I said it in jest, well, not really in jest, but that where human beings are involved, anywhere, government, it can be a mess. Because we've all witnessed great acts of altruism and selflessness, because that's the high spectrum of what it means to be human. But when you get together with people, there's always going to be pettiness and strife and chaos. You will also not only be involved with both, you may at one time, intentionally or not, be the cause of it. Yeah. But this is what it means. It's hard to be a good human being. It's messy. And so we strive, we move on again in love. And you know, it's not like all of a sudden, oh, I forgive you, Michael, but that's the goal. And this is what saves us, if you need a savior. I don't. The other saving grace is that no matter how enlightened one is or believes he or she is, one must always bring this gift of enlightenment back to the community, because we're social animals and you can't live life alone. You think you can, but not really. This is a living church. It's a living congregation. We're always moving. We're always moving. That's why we got 8 principles now, right? We may add more. We may take some away before. But you know, we need to keep that in mind. I wish the Constitution was like that. We could add a few things. Because just because someone said something 200 years ago, 5,000 years ago, doesn't mean it's true today. You know, but that's something else. But we are a living tradition, and our UU hymnal echoes this sentiment. And this is a place where people from all walks of life can come and gather to love and to support and to honor one another. Do we make mistakes? Yes. Are we human? Yes. But we have nothing to do with any dogma that separates people. All are welcome in this building, the indigent, the wealthy, the sick, the healthy, the Republican, the Democrat, the independent, those who believe in a God and those who don't, those who don't even care. You're welcome here. As new members, this is what you signed the book for. And we're delighted to have you. So, and we want you to be open-minded here. Not so that your brains fall out, but we want you to be open to life. We want you to say yes to life. And when you come here, you don't have to take your coat or your hat off, but you got to leave your BS at the door. You've got to leave your bias. You can do it for an hour. You know? I'll get you out, but you got to leave that there. No, your biases, your prejudices, at least as much as is humanly possible. They have no place in this congregation. You don't have to wear a special hat or robe to enter, but you have to be aware of the equality of all sentient beings. That's all we're asking, at least that you try. A church without walls provides a climate of understanding and safety and love. And it's a place where very deep connections can be made. So I'm not talking about, I like the Buddhist compassion. I can wrap my mind around that a little more easily, because the Christian concept of love I was raised with conditional love. And this is how it goes. But when I'm using the word love, I'm using it in the sense of what M. Scott Peck said, and you don't have to agree with it, you got your own definition. But when I extend myself for the growth of another sentient being, that's what I say is love. Paul says it a different way in Corinthians. You may say it a different way. And like I said, compassion, it gets to it, but we need to have some definition for ourselves of what that means. The goal is acceptance, not being tolerant. It's, you know, if you're tolerant, it's good. It's a rung on the ladder, but it's acceptance for differences is essential to the creation of a safe space and loving space. And this doesn't mean you have to think alike to love alike. Diversity doesn't mean divisiveness. Fellowship occurs in spite of the mind, not because of it. And so love, not agreement, is the bond that keeps us going. I'm going to skip the first 3. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to do some of the principles. No, you're going to get out of here. I'm not doing all 8. I'm just going to pick a few. Our 4th principle affirms an individual's free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Each person is free here to pursue his or her own path Spiritual path. Got to define some terms here. We just did love. Spiritual. When I say spiritual, not what you say. I'm talking about the cultivation of an inner life. I'm not talking about how many crystals you have on, even though I do have a few on. Or if you see auras and all that, which I do. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the journey that you make inside, where you say, this is what I stand for, Michael. This is where I draw my line in the sand. This is my place in the cosmos. Do you understand what I'm saying? You peel the onion to get to that. It's about your inner life. That's what I say when I'm talking about spirituality. I'm not talking about if you levitate or, you know. You have total freedom in this pursuit here. And in return, this gives you freedom. When you're feeling good, we're feeling good. I'll just put it crassly. Okay, when you're feeling good about yourself, we're feeling good about ourselves. And so no one's going to try to convert you or fix you. And we don't want you to do that either. We give as good as we get. We are not here to shame or embarrass anyone when mistakes or violations occur. Mistakes are to be acknowledged and forgiven. It takes courage to disagree. Those acting out in ways that hurt others, we will ask you to look at your behavior and see how it impacts others and yourself. Correction and forgiveness go hand in hand, because without forgiveness, correction is impossible. And without correction, forgiveness is incomplete. Our fifth principle affirms the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process. This refers to our church polity. That's one thing I'm glad we got from the Congregationalists, that the power in our denomination flows from the congregation to the pulpit, not the other way around. I work for you. You have expectations of me. I have expectations of you. Our body, our governing board is a representative democracy. People were selected, they were elected. Yet democracy is not so much about agreement, it's about respect for different points of view. We want you to feel heard. But that doesn't mean that we're going to always put your suggestion into practice. Do you know what I mean? I've been on boards where people think that it means that your idea has to be implemented. It doesn't have to be. If it's good, it will be. Or we can shelve it and do it another time. But we want you to feel heard. This requires the foresight to maintain an environment of equality, which all perspectives can be what? Considered. It's not an easy path, but this is what we strive for. Again, the power lies with you. The role of the minister is to lead by example and to empower others to walk his or her own unique spiritual path. That's my job. I'm not your daddy. I'm not your mommy. I don't want to be stuff projected onto me, even though we all do that. Because a lot of you use, and a lot of us, this is what, but we still have the old way. I know people used to come to me, where does this go, Michael? But that's what we have committees for. It doesn't have to come to me. Do you know what I mean? And we can talk more about church polity, but it's important that we have this structure and things can go as they can flow as much as possible. The role of the minister is to lead by example. The more successful the minister, he or she is, the more participatory, sorry, my first day with the new lips, the organization becomes. The minister's role is to assist in transforming the old paradigm into the new paradigm. And this occurs by inviting and facilitating others to what? Take responsibility, to share your gifts, and to co-create in the organization. Now, these are just a few of the things. If you need anything, just know that we are here to listen to you. You come to any of the church leaders here, which you'll come to know. Just a little history here, because we are not just a group of liberals that gather around. It's not a club. Ours is a rich and ancient tradition. People have lost their lives so you and I could sit here. I'll name a few. We are a tradition of faith without a creed. Very dangerous thing to have publicly. People don't understand it. Ever since the year 1566, when Transylvanian Unitarian, remember this is where Unitarian came from, Transylvania, United States. Universalism comes from England. We'll have classes on it, but just reminding you. Francis de Bede preached against the doctrine of the Trinity in 1579. They must have been made of brass. He was condemned as a heretic and died in prison. Our faith requires that every member thinks through his or her own beliefs and apply them to his or her own life. Michael Servetus, who I'll do a sermon on, had the audacity to say that there may be life on other planets, among other things. He said that there may not be a Trinity. Actually, he said it wasn't a Trinity. I agree, but I can say it now. He said it then. He was burned at the stake in Geneva by John Calvin for his anti-Trinitarian beliefs in 1553. In 1637, Samuel Gordon, a pioneer of Christian Universalism, was driven out of Massachusetts for his political and religious radicalism. In 1684, Joseph Gatchell had his tongue pierced with a hot iron for saying that all men, I'm adding women, should be saved. Dangerous business, religion. On March 25th, 1965, Unitarian Universalist housewife and activist Louisa Viola was murdered at the age of 39 years young after the 1965 march from Selma to Montgomery. Her crime? Having a 19-year-old African-American man by the name of Leroy Morton in her car. She was assisting in the fight for human rights, which was back then called civil rights. A car of Klansmen pulled up next to her, shot her twice in the head. She died instantly. The car veers off the road. Mr. Morton played dead as the murderers wanted to view their handiwork. There was an FBI informant who was one of the people in the KKK car. In 1965, the Reverend James Reed was murdered in Selma, Alabama, while participating in a human rights protest with Martin. So we have our martyrs and saints as well. And yes, there are those who would say that Brother Lyndon Johnson got involved and because these white folks were killed. And they're right. That's what it took. That's what it took. You do what it takes. You can get mad and it should be this way, it should be that way, but we want to look at life the way it is, not the way we think it should be. And then we can envision a better world. We are not a perfect denomination. Did I mention that? We still wrestle with, what it means to be diverse with folk of color, and we're working with that, and we don't get it perfect, but at least we work with it. At least I'm talking about the UUA. We do wrestle with it, and we have to walk a fine line between individuality and being in community. The whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. And this is always the challenge when a nation or institution like us celebrates our individuality, but we have to say, what about the good of the group? We've all served on committees at points in our lives where a committee leader or a leader views the committee as a time to work on his or her pet project. Terrible. Terrible. And at times we've realized this late and perhaps left the institution. But I like to think of us as teachable people. Everyone loves to teach, but it's hard to take unsolicited advice. But being teachable means that you're open to learning, and that you learn to listen, and that you just get it, that you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. And what's even more important is you don't have to. Isn't that good to know? I don't have to be right all the time. I don't even have to have any answers. That's Buddhism. That's Buddhism. In a nutshell. So it's, theologically speaking, we are teaching people. I'm going to cut all this yada, yada, yada. I'm getting hungry and it's getting late. We grow organically, building community. Secondly, we grow incarnationally. What does the congregation want to do with our gifts? Maturational growth. We support each other's faith. I can get long-winded. Lastly, numerical growth. The butts in the seats. They're all important, but we're here to grow our souls. So I encourage you, if you have not already done it, to look at our principles. To make a long story short, you have chosen to become new members. And you are now part of a long line of heretics and mavericks and free thinkers. In short, we're glad you're here. And we say to each and every one of you, we bid you welcome and welcome home, and let's go eat. All right. Now, 163, closing hymn, another one of my favorites, For the Earth Forever Turning. Please rise as you're willing and able. Okay, can we give the maestro and the choir and... Can we give the new members a hand for having the courage? It's too late, new members. I had some words. Look, we love you. We are glad you're here. May the peace and whatever you get from us, let it carry you through the week. Get some food, and thank you for taking a shot and a chance with us. Amen.